Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 6 of Uzumaki Naruto, Birth of the New Demon King. If you guys enjoy this what if, and want to see part 7 of it, comment down below, and let me know. The like goal for this video is 200 likes. So like this video, to let me know that you're interested in this series, and you want the next part. Check out my new videos of My Hero Academia what ifs in my second channel, and give it some love as well. Link is in the description. And go ahead, and check out other what ifs in the channel. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So let's start this video. Suzaku raised an eyebrow at the blonde's words. Do you honestly think you can defeat me? I'll admit you are rather strong, to have defeated the other 3 Saint Beasts without stopping to recuperate once. However, I am on an entirely different level than they are. That is why I am the leader of the Saint Beasts. You're not much of a leader, when all of your subordinates are dead, Naruto pointed out with a sardonic grin. Seems to me like you're the leader of nothing now. It matters not, Suzaku said with a nonchalant shrug. New subordinates are always easy to find. Perhaps if I deem you worthy, you can be my new second in command. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass, Naruto replied. There was a small frown marring his face. The man's callousness towards his now deceased subordinates bothered the blonde, even if he didn't let it show. You see, I have this aversion to working for those weaker than myself. Then I suppose this conversation is over, Suzaku said with a glare. It's time for you to die. He did not give Naruto a chance to make a return comment as he dashed forward. He was much faster than Naruto thought he would be, though not enough that the blonde couldn't keep up with him. The pair soon began trading blows as they closed the distance between each other. Suzaku launched several lightning-fast punches towards Naruto, who evaded those he could, and redirected those he couldn't, by using his hands to subtly move the orange-haired demon's fists away from him. Suzaku took a single step back, before snapping his right leg up in a heel kick that would have caught Naruto in the chest, had the blonde not managed to twist his torso out of the way. In retaliation, the heir of Raizen tried to grab the extended leg, so he could break it at the joints, but his opponent proved much faster than expected, and snapped his leg back, before launching it in another kick, this time towards Naruto's face. Leaning back ever so slightly, the foot missed Naruto's face by mere millimeters. He could actually feel the man's foot grazing his nose. And, though he couldn't be sure, the blonde was almost positive that the top layer of his epidermis. As Naruto came back up, he de-iced that he had enough of getting attacked, and it was time to take the fight to Suzaku. The blonde started of light, launching a series of lightning-quick punches that were more designed towards feeling his opponent out, rather than actually doing any damage. He was not all that surprised when he saw Suzaku keeping pace, though it was clear to Naruto that it was only just. Though that could also be because Suzaku wasn't using Yaoki to strengthen and enhance his body, which confused Naruto. However, he figured that Yaoki manipulation simply wasn't the orange-haired man's specialty. Naruto had to admit to being impressed by the man's speed. While his punches were not that powerful, his speed was very impressive, and his reaction times were superb. Had the blonde not worked almost solely on speed and strength for his first week in Nakai, then Suzaku would have actually been faster than him by a good margin. Thankfully, Naruto had worked on his speed, almost to the exclusion of everything else when it came to his physical performance. So, he still had a speed advantage, even if it was slight. And he could always use Shundo, if he needed a boost in speed. You're pretty good, Suzaku said with a smirk as the two disengaged their battle. It's been a while since I've fought an opponent capable of keeping up with me. Let's see how you do against my strongest attack. Lightning began covering Suzaku's hand as he charged towards the blonde once again. Engulfing Silence, Storm of Torment. Naruto leapt away to dodge the incoming attack. He opened his mouth, about to comment on the patheticness of Suzaku's attack, only to grunt in pain as he fell to his knees. Gritting his teeth, the blonde felt the excess lightning strike him, and sent jolts of pain through his nervous system. What the hell? I know I dodged him. So how did he hit me? Suzaku smirked as seeing the blonde get shocked by his attack. I'm impressed that you're still alive after that. No one else has ever survived my Engulfing before. However, one more hit like that, and you'll be finished. Naruto snorted as he stood up. While the attack had certainly stung like a bitch, it was nothing he couldn't handle. Even now he could feel his body healing up from the attack on his nerves. Well, aren't you just full of yourself? Alright, let's see you do that again. With pleasure, Suzaku charged towards Naruto again. This time the blonde paid attention to the attack as the orange-haired demon threw his lightning-covered fist at him. Engulfing. Once again Naruto dodged the attack, and once again he got shocked. He grit his teeth for a moment as he analyzed the attack. I see, so even if you don't hit me you can still hurt me with that lightning of yours, the blonde said from where he was crouched, sparks of lightning coursing over him. A few electric discharges strung the ground around Naruto, breaking off chips of the floor, and creating small cracks along the stone tile. That's right, Suzaku said with a smirk. You may be able to dodge my punches, but you can't dodge lightning. The streaks will attack the nearest person I'm fighting, and seeing as you're the only here, that makes you the only target for them. Suzaku came at Naruto again, his fists once more covered in lightning. Engulfing Silence. This time Naruto didn't even bother to dodge as the orange-haired demon's lightning-covered fist hit him in the center of the chest. Rather than feel elation at hitting the blonde, Suzaku frowned as he felt something off. His eyes widened in surprise when the blonde disappeared in a puff of smoke and was replaced with a log. What is this? Kawarimi, replacement technique, the ultimate escape jutsu, Naruto said from behind the last Saint Beast. Suzaku's eyes widened as he turned, and he was just in time to jump back as Naruto gave the spot he had been seconds previously a heel drop. The ground cracked under the power behind Naruto's attack, with small fissures and spider webs spreading out from the small crater that had formed. The blonde smirked, I don't need to dodge, or even block your attack, when I can just replace myself. And where did you get the log? Asked Suzaku, curious about the technique's application. Naruto shrugged, I don't know, I don't question where the log comes from. I just know that should I ever be in need, the log will heed my call and offer me its protection. For I am a child of the log. The blonde's answer didn't seem to satisfy Suzaku, who sneered at him. Whatever, I don't care about some stupid log. It's time to kick this up a notch. In Kokuyo Rojin, Prism of 7. Suzaku took a crouched stance and began to charge his Yaki. Naruto watched on in interest, raising an eyebrow when the orange-haired demon began to multiply, 2 at a time, until there were a total of 7 Suzakus. Since you can just replace yourself with something whenever I hit you, I'll just make sure there are 7 of me to ensure that once you do that switching log ability of yours, one of me will get you. Clones. Heh, I can do that too. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. What sort of trickery is this? Asked Suzaku, who gaped at seeing 7 Narutos now standing before him. This is my cloning technique, Naruto said with a grin. Face it, there's nothing that you can do that I can't do better. He saw the man's face twitching in both shock and outrage. Oh, how he loved taunting his opponents until they became sloppy. Suzaku sneered, we'll see about that. Rokugoku and Kokuraiko Ha, Prism of Storm Torment. Lightning began crackling in the hands of the 7 Suzakus, sparking brighter and brighter, as the leader of the Saint Beasts began to gather more and more power. When the amount of lightning being generated seemed to reach a plateau, it began to morph and change shape. The lightning in the left hand of the Suzakus took on the shape of a bow, while the left looked like some kind of bolt or an arrow. It wasn't hard for Naruto to figure out what the man was going to use them for. His theory proved correct when all 7 Suzakus cocked their arrows on the bows and took aim at him. As the lightning arrows flew towards him, Naruto remained where he was as he thought up a plan to defeat the technique. Let's see, those arrows likely have the same ability as his Inkoku Raijin, meaning even if I dodge I'll still get hurt by the lightning they let off. I could Kawarimi, but where's the fun in that? He thought out a few different scenarios, before coming up with a plan that was simple, but one he thought would be effective. Naruto began charging much more Yaki into his hands than he had the entire time he had been in Maze Castle. He crossed his arms and in cross guard, as red and black sparks of energy began flying off of him. When the lightning arrows were less than a meter away from him, the blonde demon shinobi threw his hands out wide, and unleashed a powerful wave of energy that engulfed the arrows, which dispersed under the intensity of Naruto's attack. If you want to actually hurt me, you're going to have to do better than that, Naruto said with a grin. Suzaku's eyes went wide at seeing his attack defeated so easily. However, his surprise soon gave way to a fierce glare as he looked at Naruto with rage. You want more power? Fine. Try this on for size. Suzaku dispelled his 7 copies, which were more or less useless now that he knew his opponent could create copies of himself as well. As the copies returned to his body, Suzaku's power began to pulse, and he was restored to perfect health. He raised his arm towards the ceiling, and another bolt of lightning shot down from the thunderstorm and enveloped him, raised his energy level even higher than before. An intense aura of yellow lightning now coursed around his body. Can you see it now? Asked Suzaku with a smirk. Can you finally see how outclassed you are? However, when Suzaku looked at his opponent, he face-faulted at seeing the blonde picking at his ear, and not even paying attention to him. Are you listening to me? Naruto took his pinky out of his ear, and flicked a small amount of earwax off his finger. Nope, sorry, your rambling was just so boring I couldn't pay attention. Maybe if you were a little more original I would, but as you are now. Suzaku grit his teeth. That does it. I've had it up to here with you. It's time for you to die. Suzaku shot forward, his speed having increased to the point where it looked like he had blurred out of existence. He appeared right before Naruto with a large smirk, and sent a powerful punch to the blonde's face, expecting the demon shinobi to get sent flying. What he got was Naruto's head turning ever so slightly. The eyes widening in surprise, Suzaku began launching assault after assault on the blonde Uzumaki. He kicked, punched, kneed, elbowed and even gave the blonde a powerful headbutt. However, none of the attacks did any damage, and Naruto just stood there, looking at Suzaku with an impassive expression. Are you done? Asked Naruto, his face blank as he looked at the shocked demon in front of him. Because if so, then it's my turn. Before Suzaku knew what him, he was sent flying backwards with a jaw-shattering punch to the face. As his body flew parallel to the ground, Naruto appeared behind him and waited for just the right second to act. The blonde kicked him in the back of the head, and due to the fact that he had been flying parallel to the ground, Suzaku was sent flying up towards the ceiling. Once again, the blonde demon shinobi appeared in front of the orange-haired demon, standing on the ceiling in a crouched position. His feet were spread apart, and his left fist was cocked back. He began channeling massive amounts of energy into his hand, causing red and black lightning to crackle into existence. "This is the end," Naruto shouted as he threw his fist at Suzaku. The punch connected to the other man's face, and there was a single moment in which time seemed to stand still. It quickly began again as a large explosion of demonic Yauki blew out of Naruto's fist. Suzaku didn't even have time to scream in pain as the energy washed over him. Of course, Naruto being Naruto ended up overdoing his attack, and the Yauki continued on unabated. It crashed through the tower, destroying floor after floor as it plowed towards the ground. When it hit the first story, the entire castle maze shook, right before a large explosion overtook it. Birth of the new Demon King. At the outside, Kyuubi stood, where she had first shown Naruto the maze castle, where she watched the entire structure collapse. It was an odd sight. First the very top of the castle fell in onto the second. This was followed by the second falling onto the third part of the castle, which was followed by the fourth, and so on. The buttresses all fell away as the stone structure broke apart. It was like watching a stack of cards toppling to the ground. As if someone were trying to bring a whole new meaning to the words overkill. As soon as the entire structure had collapsed in on itself, a large explosion overtook the entire debris-ridden castle. Much like a nuclear warhead going off, a large mushroom-shaped cloud of smoke rose into the air, looking very ominous in its dark reddish-black color. When the mushroom cloud of smoke, dust and falling debris cleared, where Maze Castle once stood was a large, nearly 80-meter wide crater. "Geez, Naruto-sama," Kyuubi muttered as she looked at the destruction. "Put a little more power into your attacks, why don't you?" "No need to be so sarcastic, Kyu-chan," Naruto's voice came from behind her, causing Kyuubi to whirl around and clutch her chest. "I didn't even feel him sneak up on me," she thought in shock, right before she got angry. "Damn it, Naruto-sama. Don't sneak up on me like that." Sorry, Naruto said with a smile. He walked over to her, and before the vixen could say anything else, he placed his mouth over hers. Kyuubi's eyes slowly fluttered closed as she leaned into the kiss. Her arms slid themselves around the blonde's neck as she pressed her body closer to his, ensuring that there was no space between them. She could feel her body respond to his as he deepened the kiss. It felt like she was on fire. Her nipples were hard and nubs, and she couldn't help but moan when they rubbed against Naruto's chest through the fabric of her kimono. She could feel her sex getting wet, the spot between her legs blazing like a furnace to match her aroused state. "Naruto-sama," Kyuubi moaned as Naruto pulled out of the kiss, only to attack her neck. He kissed up and down her swan-like neck, before stopping just a little below her right ear, when she produced a loud moan. His mouth latched onto her neck more forcefully as he began to suck and bite that area. He would have smirked as he heard Kyuubi's cries of pleasure getting louder had he not had his mouth currently occupied. As it was, he settled for bringing the red head to utter bliss with his ministrations. He took his mouth off only after he was satisfied by the shiny red love bite he had left on her tender and flawless skin. "You promised me a kiss after I completed your final test," Naruto whispered in her ear, his voice taking on a husky growl. Kyuubi shivered at that tone. The dominating and sexual overtones were almost too much to bear. She knew that it would only take him another push or two before she jumped the blonde right there. "That is true," she got out before another moan escaped her throat. This one caused by Naruto cupping and fondling her tight, firm and shapely rear. "But that was only if you impressed me." "Oh?" Naruto said as he halted his suckling, which had reached her collarbone by now. He played with the neckline of her kimono, which was slightly off-kilter from him moving it aside, so he could continue to work her over. "And did I no impress you, Kyu-chan?" "No, you did, but we need to wait until we get. Kyuubi tried to get out, but when she felt one of Naruto's hands slide into her kimono and begin groping her breast, which was completely open to him as Kyuubi disliked wearing a bra. Her mind blanked for an instant as she felt his calloused fingers caressing her bare flesh, making Kyuubi shiver at his warm touch. His thumbs ran over her heart and nipples, sending jots of pleasure from her chest, and even to her nether regions. "Bet?" asked Naruto as he continued exploring Kyuubi's body, relishing in the feel of her perfectly round breasts. "Get where, Kyuubi-chan?" "Get to your new mansion now," shouted Kyuubi, surprising the blonde. He only had enough time to blink before the vixen grabbed him, and they both disappeared in a flash of fire. Birth of the new Demon King. The next morning the pair woke up feeling content and sated from their activities the other night. They both decided to have breakfast in bed, as Naruto created several clones to cook for them. Contrary to popular belief, Naruto could cook, and cook well. When he had first gotten his apartment, Sarutobi had actually hired someone to help teach the blonde how to cook, paying them what would amount to a D-rank mission. The only reason Naruto ate ramen was because it was fast, cheap, and tasted good. And when you're charged with extra taxes, that triple the amount you need to pay when buying necessities, you don't really think about things like how healthy the food is, or how fashionable the clothes you buy are. While his clones were down in the kitchen making food, Naruto was resting his back against the headboard of the bed. Kyuubi was laying on her side, snuggled deeply in his chest and purring contentedly as the blonde demon shinobi ran his hands along her side. "So, this is where you used to live?" asked Naruto as he looked around the room. Now that his lust was sated and Kyuubi was no longer trying to jump him, he took a good look around the stately room. It was rather large, with sweeping Corinthian-style columns running along the walls. On the opposite side of the bed were two doors, one a standard door with a handle, which Naruto assumed led to a bathroom. The other was a sliding door that no doubt led to a closet. Along his right was another sliding door, this one made entirely of what looked like crystal. It led to an outside balcony that overlooked a garden in the backyard, and had expensive-looking patio furniture. "Yes," Kyuubi said as she breathed in his scent. She exhaled slowly, enjoying every moment she spent with Naruto. She had never felt this content before. "I had this mansion built when I became Raizen Sama second in command. That was around 500 years ago." Naruto nodded. "So, I'm guessing this is your room?" "No, it's yours," Kyuubi said, surprising the blonde. She looked up to see him looking at her with idle curiosity tinged with surprise. She giggled a little before saying, "You are not only my master, Naruto-sama, but my mate as well. Everything I have is yours. This room, this house, even my clan will be at your disposal once you decide to make your presence known to the people of Nakai." "You mean when I take my place as the third Demon King?" asked Naruto with a frown. "Yes, though you will want to be careful. After Raizen Sama died, the other two Demon Kings pounced on the chance to control your ancestors' land. They even went so far as to team up just so they could defeat me and my clan. But we have several advantages, don't we?" said Naruto, thinking hard. "I mean, they don't know that Raizen ever had a child, because he married a human, and she gave birth in the human world. Also, from what you've told me about the Demon Kings, none of them ever got along with each other, and only knowing that should two of the three fight to the death, the last one would jump at the opportunity to kill them both and claim control was really the only thing stopping them from outright war. This means any pact the current two kings made would be null and void as soon as they finish their objective in defeating your clan and those under your clan's control." "Yes, that is correct, Naruto-sama," Kyuubi said, seemingly pleased that Naruto had been listening to her lectures enough to figure all of that out. "In fact, we're off even better than that. Not only do they not know about you, but they also don't know I'm still around. Many assumed I died in the final battle, with only the Demon Kings knowing I escaped. However, they believe that I ended up losing my life sometime along the line due to lingering injuries." "Injuries?" Naruto asked, raising an eyebrow. "Hi, I was rather badly injured in that battle," Kyuubi said. "In a one-on-one fight, I can hold my own against any one of the Demon Kings, with the sole exception of Raizen Sama. However, in a two-on-one fight I stand no chance. Only Raizen ever had the power to beat two Demon Kings at once. In any event, not only do they not know of our existence, but they themselves are at war with each other." There was a large grin that threatened to split Kyuubi's face as she said this. It seems that, after they won and claimed Raizen Sama's territory as their own, the two ended up arguing over who would get what. They are currently having periodic on and off warfare with each other. Which means unless rumor of our existence reaches them, they wouldn't do anything, Naruto concluded. "Exactly." Naruto nodded as the door to their room opened, and several clones came in with 2 large trays of food. The blonde grinned at seeing the 3 large stacks of pancakes on his plate, with a side of bacon and some kind of juice, though he couldn't tell what it was. "Alright. I'm starving." Kyuubi watched in amusement as Naruto began scarfing down his food. She grabbed her fork and knife, and daintily cut off a piece from one of own pancakes, and placed it in her mouth. The pair were silent as they ate. Naruto finished first, having more or less shoved the food down his throat, in an effort to satiate his ravenous hunger. When he finished, the blonde sighed and leaned back while placed his arms behind his head. Kyuubi finished a few moments later, and when she did Naruto decided to ask her the question that had been on his mind. "Hey, Kyu-chan. I was wondering. You've mentioned how you're powerful enough to stand on equal grounds with the 2 Demon Kings. So how powerful are you? And how powerful is that in comparison with other demons?" Kyuubi set down her utensils and scooted back so she could snuggle with Naruto. "I never did go into demonic power levels very much, did I?" she asked rhetorically. "Well, to start, I'll go into an overview of the different power levels and classes that demons have. The first class amongst demons is E-class. The weakest class of all. Demons of this strength aren't strong or smart, but they are very violent. However, their strength is just above that of a Genin level shinobi. D-class is the second to lowest class. Like E-class demons, with a few notable exceptions, they are not very intelligent or exceptionally powerful, but their strength and endurance is superhuman compared to an average shinobi. In fact, these would be around the level of an experienced Chunin. However, compared to most demons they are very weak. The third class are C-class demons. This is about average strength for most demons. They're stronger than the E's and D's, but their power pales in comparison to the stronger classes. These demons are very common and are relatively abundant in the demon world. That's the same level of those Saint Beast guys I defeated, right? Asked Naruto. With the exception of Suzaku, who was B class. Yes, Kyuubi said with a nod. Now the next class are the B class demons. This class is where the strength level skyrockets, and is the beginning of the upper class demon strength, where the difference between two classes is absolutely enormous. B classes are far more powerful than C classes, but they still can't compete with the higher classes. However, they are more than enough for a human. In fact, a B class demon has equal strength to your village's Kages. So, every B class demon is on par with an S rank shinobi? Asked Naruto. Yes. Naruto frowned. How come we haven't had any threats from these demons then? If they were that powerful, I would assume they would love to come into the human world to wreak havoc. They would, Kyuubi admitted. But they don't because of us demon lords. Well, I lived in Makai for most of my life. The other 8 lords preferred the human world. The other demon lords are very territorial, and would kill all demons that they felt entered their domain on sight. Though most of us are sealed now, I suspect that when the demons in Makai learn of this, the human world will have an influx of demons entering it. Anyways, the second to highest class are the A-class demons. These demons are exceptionally powerful, more than capable of destroying a human settlement or killing 100 S-rank shinobi without receiving even a scratch. However, compared to the power of an S-class demon, they are very weak, so weak in fact, that they are used as mere foot soldiers of the 3 kings. S-classes are the highest class, they are the pinnacle of power in the demon world. They are so strong that even a low S-class's strength can completely devastate a large area. In demon world, they are rare, with only about 20 ever known. It is extremely rare for even A-class achieve this level, while a strong A-class was noted to start to get close, and that would achieve upper S-class in less than 2 years. A single S-class is strong enough to defeat a horde of 500 upper A-classes by themselves with relatively little effort. Now, the demon lords are between lower A and upper S-class in strength. Ichibi and the Nibi are both lower A-class. Sanbi and Yanbi are middle A, while Gobi is upper A-class. Rakubi and Inabi are lower S-class, and Hachibi is middle S-class. I myself am upper S-class. So, then you're on par with Raizen Oji-san, right? Asked Naruto. I mean, he was upper S as well, wasn't he? Kyuubi shook her head. No, in his prime, Raizen-sama was on an entirely different level than anyone else. In fact, while it was never made official, Raizen-sama was so powerful that many demons gave him the classification of SS class, simply because he was so powerful. His power was so great that he could easily kill 4 or 5 upper S-class demons with relative ease. If you want another example of his strength, we can use power levels. I myself hold a power level of 1,560,000, which is slightly above average power for an upper S-class demon. In his prime, Raizen-sama had a power level of 4,056,000. It was said that he was so powerful that if he wanted he could have destroyed the world 7 times over. Naruto took in this information with a nod, not letting on how surprised he was to know that Raizen was so powerful. He had of course realized that Raizen was strong, he would have to be, to have Kyuubi respect the man so much. But to think that he was that strong was just unbelievable. What would I be? Right now your power is about 1,600,000, Kyuubi answered. Much of that is sealed off, however, due to you not being able to control your power. At those words, Naruto looked down to see the metal band on his left forearm. It was very beautiful, with an intricate design of the same patterns that made up Raizen's eye tattoo. However, the design itself was used to hide a very powerful set of demonic runes that bound Naruto's power down to a more manageable level. Right now, Kyuubi continued, and the blonde turned his gaze from the wristband to her. With your powers sealed, you only have the strength of an A-class demon, about 450,000. Eventually, we will be able to slowly release your power back to you as you gain better and better control over it. Raizen-sama claimed that you had the power to surpass him. Do you think I can? Asked Naruto. You definitely have an advantage over him, Kyuubi stated. Naruto looked at her in confusion, which the red had noticed and decided to further explain. What I mean is, Raizen-sama needed to eat humans to keep his strength. When he fell in love and promised to never eat another human, he began losing that strength and withering away. When he died, his strength was only around 1,332,000. She paused for a moment before smiling. You on the other hand are 1/3 human, and thus do not require feasting on humans for sustenance. That means you won't need to eat humans to keep your strength up, or gain any more. Naruto nodded. It was a roundabout way of answering his question, but he got the gist of what she was saying. Since he didn't have to eat humans like most demons did to keep their strength, he didn't have their limitations. All he required to get more powerful was to train and fight. What about you? Asked Naruto as he suddenly realized something. Do you have to eat humans? No, Kyuubi replied with a shake of her head. I'm not like most demons, aside from the fact that I am a kitsune, I am also one of 9 lords that received their power from an outside source. Outside source? You mean when you became the Kyuubi, right? Kyuubi nodded. Yes, myself and 8 other lower class demons that had been in the human world at the time were all struck by that power. I gained the most, and therefore was the one who became the Kyuubi. Because we were lower level demons when we received our power, we didn't need to feast on humans to keep it. Our Yaki sustains us indefinitely, though we can eat regular food if we want. Naruto nodded at her answer as a clone came up and took their trays away. He chuckled a bit when he heard it grumble about lazy blonde bastards and lucky-ass originals. It was always amusing to hear his clones complain. Because Kage Bunchins were a literal copy of the original, they had the same independent thought and emotional range as the person who created them. Which was why all Naruto's clones hated his guts when he was with Kyuubi. So, what are we going to do now that my training is more or less complete? Asked Naruto. We only have 2 days before the 1-month training period before the Chunin exams are up, Kyuubi answered. So, we'll be heading back to the human world soon. Tomorrow I think, that way we can make plans for some more training. More training? Asked Naruto. I thought we were more or less done training. To gain any more power now, all I really need to do is battle. Unless of course, we're talking about elemental training. No elemental training yet, Kyuubi replied, making Naruto pout. I suppose training isn't quite the word I should use. Tell me, what do you know about summoning contracts? Not much, Naruto admitted with a sheepish look. I know that it's a contract between you and a clan of animals, and that depending on the contract you sign will depend on the type of animal you can summon. But other than that, he trailed off at the end. Kyuubi nodded, having already expected as much. You seem to understand the basics. By signing a summoning contract in your blood, you will be able to summon a clan of animals via sacrificing a little of your blood and doing the required hand seals. What humans don't know is that the summoning clans are not animals, but demons. They are lesser-known demons known as dire beasts, and vary in power, with boss summons being high C to low B class, and others being C and below. The redhead watched as Naruto nodded, and took in the knowledge for later use. She smiled as she thought of the bomb she was just about to drop on him. I was thinking about these contracts, and decided that none of the current contracts available would suit you. Therefore, I plan on making one for the Kitsune clan. Naruto blinked several times as he digested what she had just told him. The ramifications of having the Kitsune clan as his personal summons were huge, not just in the demon world, but the human one as well. Due to how Kyuubi was perceived by people in the elemental nations, she didn't have a very good reputation. This stigma extended to all Kitsune, even normal non-demon foxes. He could only imagine the amount shit he would get for being capable of summoning Kitsune from the people of Konoha. Not that this issue particularly mattered to him, but he didn't want to be forced to kill every fool who decided to insult him. No, his main thoughts were on the making of the contract himself. From what he knew, the summoning contracts had been created around the time of the Rikudo Sennin. They were supposed to be incredibly complex pieces of Fuinjutsu. Naruto doubted that even the Yondaime could recreate a summoning contract. Do you even know how to make a contract? Asked Naruto. No, Kyuubi admitted, scratching the back of her head. If Naruto hadn't been laying down he would have face-faulted. As it was he merely sweat-dropped. Then how do you plan on making a contract? There are contracts in existence, Kyuubi said with a shrug. We'll just study one, and use it as our base. You know Fuinjutsu, correct? Not on that level, Naruto said. I've studied, and I'm decent at making seals. But I'm only beginning to enter the intermediate level of Fuinjutsu study. I don't even think the Yondaime Hokage could create a summoning contract from scratch, and he was the premier Fuinjutsu master of the world. Yes, but he didn't have me, now did he? Asked Kyuubi with a grin. I may not know Fuinjutsu, but I am perfect memory. I only need one glance at a contract, and I can recreate it. The only problem will be modifying the contract for Kitsune. That's where you come in, we'll just rearrange the Fuinjutsu until we get what we want. I suppose that could work, Naruto said pensively. It would take a bit of work on our part, but with a little luck and a whole lot of skill, we could conceivably make a contract for your clan. He sighed as he realized something. I'm going to have to study summoning contracts more closely, so I know what's needed outside of just the contract itself. Which is why we're going to deal with that after the Chunin exams, Kyuubi said before grinning at him seductively. She swung a leg over Naruto and was soon straddling his waist. Her hands went to his languid sword and began to pump it until it hardened and reached full mast. Now, I'm done talking about training and summoning, Kyuubi said with a purr. Made me feel good. Naruto found a grin make its way onto his face as he guided Kyuubi to his entrance. Summoning, training and the Chunin exams could wait. Right now, he had a horny vixen to please. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want a next part of this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. And also check out the other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.